Listen guys, I am very sorry that the E30 M3 build has been on hold. I've been busy with the other projects and getting them to a certain point so I can get back to working on this.
Mainly, I'm talking about the G80 M3, and I wanted to get it running and driving before continuing on the E30 M3.
Had I have not had those other projects, this thing would probably be running and driving with a full interior by now. Whoops.
And to clarify something, I needed to get the car running and driving so I can get it out of the way so I can actually get the E30 M3 out of the garage. Bear in mind the parts car M4 is still in the way, but I can push that, and it's pretty light because it doesn't have a drivetrain in it.
It's hard to really remember where I left off on this project, to be perfectly honest. Why is that wheel off?
In order to catch you guys back up, I've got to catch myself up as well. In the last video, I got the new clutch setup installed and got the transmission refurbished and refreshed, but not without its problems.
Oh, no.
I did a successful SMG to manual conversion, got the transmission in, wrapped up the fuel system, got a DME and wired that up, reloomed some of the harness, and here we are. This thing is nearly ready to run. But before that, I need to get the transmission fully installed, and the only reason it isn't is because I was missing a transmission mount. With this 6-speed, you need a custom mount, and luckily, I found one online. It's made by KISS, and I'm going to pair it with some Condor transmission mounts.
Aha! Well, I thought this was going to be a good piece to use, but yep, that's not going to work. Now it spins like it should. That is a beautiful mount. Beautiful trans mounts. This is working out really nicely. And for the first time, this drivetrain is fully installed and supporting itself.
Additionally, to finish up the transmission, I got a custom slave cylinder line from Chase Bays and bolted that thing into place. It still needs blood though, along with the entire braking system.
I've had this box laying around for months, just waiting to try to get to it. And I have to install what's in this box before really doing anything else in the car. There's also a whole bunch of junk in the way. I can hardly even work on the thing as is. Perks of a small garage.
Between all of my broken BMWs, I'm completely out of space in this garage, especially with the addition of some new tools. So I'm basically resorting to storing things in trunks of said vehicles.
What I tell you guys, I have nowhere to store this lift table. I mean, it's awesome. I don't know where to put it.
All right, back to these metal plates with Turner stamped on them. Any ideas what they're for?
The specific part that those metal pieces are for, well, that's underneath the car. You guys can probably figure it out. So those are frame rail reinforcements, and they go right here. My frame rails actually aren't in too bad a shape, but there was some patchwork done before that wasn't great. These don't look terrible, but you can see like that, even though it's hard, it certainly doesn't look good. Now I've got some room for the frame rails. And I'll be honest guys, a couple of months ago, there's no chance I would take on this project. It wasn't until ESOB came on board that I felt comfortable doing some welding underneath this thing. Because my old welder, well, there's no way I trusted that to do anything worthwhile.
If you're not a good welder, you better have a grinder.
The really unfortunate thing is to install these, I've got to get all the old crap out of there and out of the way, which is not going to be fun. That probably still won't even cut it. Oh boy. I take it back. My frame rails actually aren't in too bad a shape. This rust, actually worse than I thought. Oh, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Yeah, that's not great. My frame rails actually aren't. That's not great, and that's also not the way to fix this at all. So all they did was take a flat piece of metal, frickin' bend it over and tack weld it on here. They didn't even like attempt to strengthen anything. What is this, eighth inch? Maybe? Not even? Nice. That's all of it. What's weird is they did none of that over on the passenger side. Like, it's in a lot better condition. And I'm thankful they didn't mess with it.
I gotta say, the passenger side shocked me. It was so bad, and the fact that they just took a thin piece of metal and draped it over top of there and stitched it on real quick, absolutely horrendous. But after all, it is a 36-year-old car. It's not gonna be perfect.
All right, I gotta ask you guys. Name something worse to do on a car than laying underneath it doing rust repairs. I'm not certain there is, but you guys have probably done some nasty jobs. Let me know in the comments. Now an even more fun part, taking a slew of tools and grinding all the crap off the frame rail to prepare for the new frame rail.
If you guys have an E30 and you haven't heard of these frame rail reinforcement kits, I highly suggest you check them out. I'll also have them linked below along with everything else I use in this video per usual. But these are made by Turner Motorsports, and you can see this is a full frame rail, basically reinforcement. It's gonna beef them up, make them stronger, and hopefully they'll never rust again. It's the absolute best repair you can do without replacing the entire frame rails. And even if you have good frame rails, this is probably still a good idea to beef them up.
Looks like I have a good bit more grinding to do. Yay me.
Well, after what seemed like hours and hours and hours of grinding, because it was hours and hours and hours of grinding, I got the frame rail completely ground down and ready for the plates. So this plate goes there, and then there's two side plates. They're gonna sit up like that, and it's just gonna freaking box this whole thing in. It's gonna be super strong, it's gonna look nice, and it's gonna be the correct repair this time.
And these came with little cutouts where they need to be bent, so I'm gonna pre-bend them before trying to do it in the car. And that's the bend that I need right there, that angle. That'll do. Also just have to do the other side. Nice, and now you can see how that fits right in there. Great piece by Turner. I'm so thankful somebody makes this, because there's no way I could make something like this even remotely as nice.
Anyway, returning to laying on my back and grinding and grinding and grinding, you'll see that's a theme here. And to get in all the nooks and crannies, I had to use quite the assortment of tools. Without the lineup of Milwaukee M12 tools, there's no way I could get this job done.
Remind me, if I ever get another car that needs any kind of rust repair underneath, wow, look at my face. Wait until I have a two-post lift, because I feel like I would already be done with this job if I had a lift. This sucks, laying on my back. There's quite the mess down there. And yes, on top of all this, my allergies are at an all-time high.
Alright, Matt, that's enough sneezing.
You see this? The factory undercoating? It's not fun. Now look at what we've uncovered. This side appeared fine, but underneath all that factory undercoating, it was rotting away. My frame rails actually aren't in too bad shape. While I'm certainly not happy to be doing this, I'll be glad when it's done, because it definitely needed to be done.
The grinding is finally done. Now, was that the worst part of this job? Well, you'll find out a little bit later. Probably not. But it was pretty terrible, and I'm really happy that that's over with. And now we can move on to the best part, welding. After some cleanup first, of course. I don't want to be rolling around in more filth than I have to. 36 years worth of rust. Now I need to hit everything with some rust reformer / weld through primer. But before I can do that, I've got to get the 997 out of here. And to do that, well, I think I need to clean up a little bit. Used by every drifter ever, Steel It. That's what I'm going to be using underneath this, mainly because it's supposed to be really, really good, and it's weldable. And I need to make sure the back sides of all these brand new metal pieces from Turner aren't going to rust. And to do that, well, they need to be painted. But they have to be painted with something that can also be weldable, and that's where Steel It comes into play. I'm actually really excited to try it out. And if you're curious what kind of crap comes out of a 36-year-old frame rail, here's your answer. I made a huge mess again. Now keep in mind, I'll paint that again once it's welded on, but this is basically just I'm painting the back side of the metal. That way it doesn't rust when it's in the car. Sorry about the air compressor noise. I'm going to do parts that I'm not welding with the rust reformer, and then everything else with the Steel It. I also use the reformer to get inside those frame rails as best as possible. Dude, this Steel It, first time I'm using it, this is some freaking impressive stuff. Now I just wait for that to dry, and then it's finally the fun time, welding. This Steel It turned out so nice, it's almost a shame that it's going to be welded on and ground on. But take a good look at these frame rails. This is the last time they're going to be looking so bad. Okay, the paint's dry up top, the paint's dry underneath. It's time to weld. Time to break out the ESOB welder again. This is only the second time I'm using this. The first time was with a spool gun and aluminum. Now I get to use it with mild steel with the MIG gun. But first, I gotta get it set up. Just the fact that even like in this box there's a light, that's so cool. Makes it so much better to work on. And it has a whole bunch of information up here to help. I'll have this all-in-one AC/DC welder linked down below in the description box for any of you guys at home looking for a welder. This is a great unit that can do just about everything, and I'm gonna be using this Smart MIG setup. And yeah, that's molten metal falling directly on my chest. Oh no, we lost power. Oh boy. Okay, I swapped over to the 220 in the laundry room. That should fix our power issues. I'm not gonna lie, you guys know me. I am not a professional welder at all. I am an amateur at best. So this was a great learning experience. The only problem was it was extremely uncomfortable. No matter what position I laid in, some part of my body was aching and I was groaning and just, I'll be honest guys, it sucked laying under this thing. Whew, this thing is chucking away but doing such a good job. Raw unfiltered welds in 3, 2. Yeah, they don't look the greatest, but I feel like the penetration was good. I got good coverage everywhere, and I'm confident these frame rail plates aren't going anywhere. And with a little bit of grinding and a little bit of paint, they're going to look pretty darn good. I just need a minute, guys. I'm definitely going to have to go to the chiropractor after this. And there she is with some grinding done. Not perfect grinding, not perfect welding, but I think it looks pretty darn good. More importantly, it's strong and hopefully won't rust for the next 30 years. Ooh. Oh, that burned. That burned a lot. Clearly, I didn't learn from the first time around not to be directly underneath molten metal with just a sweatshirt on. Ouch. All right, don't hang out directly under the weld. I think a couple tack welds should hold it. That's all I really need to do. At this point in the video, there's probably already dozens of comments saying this isn't the right way to fix it. I should cut the entire frame rail out. I should cut out the floor. I should redo all of it. But the problem is I don't have the space, the time, the skill, or the rotisserie or a two-post lift itself to do that kind of full frame-off restoration.
And the rotisserie makes everything so much easier.
Would I love to do that in the future? Absolutely. And I probably will someday. But at this point, my little two-car garage, this is the best I can do, and I'm confident it's gonna work. After all, between laying on my back and getting covered in molten metal, rust fragments, dirt and debris, and constantly swapping out grinding discs and belt sandpaper, it took everything I had just not to straight up quit. But I persevered knowing I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was so close to finishing this job and one of the worst repairs I've ever done on any vehicle. And if you're new here or have been around for a while but haven't subbed, I would greatly appreciate a sub and a like and a comment on this video. After all, I kind of went through hell to make it. Why are your legs open? Shut up. It's comfortable. And there it is, all ground down. I'm pretty happy with that. I could have taken more time grinding it, but really, at some point, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Same on this side over here. Looks pretty darn nice. And it's certainly nice and solid. And to fill in any cracks and crevices, I added just a touch of seam sealer. I may have went a touch overboard on the seam sealer, but whatever. Just a coat of paint away from being done. Dang, I gotta say, it looks pretty okay. And while the welder was out, I guess I'm the welding guy now, I glued this bracket back on my friend's lawnmower. Hopefully it stays. Slowly getting the hang of it. The backside came out decent. There's only one way to learn, and that's to do. So I'm going to take on as many little projects as I can so I can get more confident. I threw a couple more coats of Steel It on there, and then I could start putting the front suspension back together. I removed these control arm brackets because, well, I had to weld around there, obviously. And now that all that's done, I could bolt them back up and get a look at the finished product. I think I can get rid of the previous fix. Is this a professional job? Heck no. But is it a pretty good job for a guy at home who doesn't really know what he's doing? Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. It seems super solid and sturdy. I have full confidence in using these as jacking points, as lifting points, and knowing that the floor isn't going to fall out of the car, and hopefully it doesn't spontaneously split in two. And now the car is one step closer to starting, running, and driving, hopefully in the next video.